part two of Liam Williams versus Chris Eubanks Jr. Taking off from where we left off. Respect. Respect. Okay? Let's listen again. Respect. Trainer to fighter. You have to have that. It's important.
Boy. I'm just very proud of Chris to see the improvement on the things that he always improves on. He seems to improve every time we get together. And I'm just, like I said, you couldn't ask for a better student of the game, somebody that wants to learn and goes out and shows what they've learned. It's very difficult to do, especially when somebody like me is asking of you, but he goes out every time and he impresses me every time I see him. So I'm very happy with the performance, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, brother.
All right. Again, respect. You would be surprised at the number of fighters who also battle their trainers. Early on in the career, you cast out to a fight. You have plans laid to be in a different city or state at a certain time. Everything's been laid out, and at the last minute, the so-called coach doesn't show up. And so the fighter has to go where he's going by himself. Early on, it's like that in the fight game. It's not what you see, on these big fight nights. Even a lot of the ESPN fights you see, it's not what you think. You have guys that are coming from nowhere to get to somewhere, and they're going through their daily lives, working, doing this, that, and the other, and, trying to see what they can do in the game. But if you don't have reliable people, if you don't have reliable trainers sparring or anything, it's a team effort. And if everything is not together, it doesn't matter how talented you are. In a lot of cases, there's just too many things that can go wrong, and there's too many factors. But one big factor is what you see right here, the respect between this trainer and this fighter. You can tell, they care about one another. There's trust right there, trust. And in my opinion, I think that that Jones is worthy of Eubanks' trust and vice versa. I could be wrong, but it appears to be that way. So I hope they end up doing really good things for what's left of Eubanks' career.
But we have a healthy medium that we can take the two and put them together and get the most out of it.
This is Roy.
So when I train guys, this is one of the biggest mistakes people make. Roy does not try to make guys be Roy Jones Jr. Roy takes guys and he looks at their DNA and he figures out, how do I better this guy and his DNA? That's what I train for. I don't train to make Roy Jones Jr.'s. Ain't no such thing as making another Roy Jones Jr. I'm not trying to do it. My goal is to make the best Chris Eubank Jr. that we can get.
And that's important, because if you've ever dealt with a trainer who completely disregards who it is that they're dealing with, it's not going to work out very well. You don't do that. Good trainers, I don't care what it is you're doing, whether it's personal training, whether you're training fighters, whatever, if you're making cookies, whatever. I mean, each person has a personality. Even the way you teach them, some people process information one way, others another way, and so on and so forth. The best way to get a person to a successful place is by, caring about who they are, understanding who they are, their limitations, their strengths. Some things can't be compromised. Okay, true. But most things can be tweaked a bit. And so when you have a trainer who understands that, okay, just because I use this particular method and I use these words for 75% of the people, 80% of the people, this person here is not picking it up. So how can I make them understand, or what can I do with them to make them uh, successful? And so it takes work, and a lot of people don't want to work. They want it to be easy, and nothing in life that's worth doing is easy. Um, Consider also the structure of the person you're dealing with. You have personality, you have their particular physiological makeup, and so on and so forth. You may be telling this person, listen, you need to turn your foot this way. You need to turn your foot in a bit more. But what if the person is what we call slew-footed? What if the person, as they stand facing you quite naturally, their toes, the left toe is pointed out at, by God, nearly 9 o'clock, and the right toe is darn near 3 o'clock. Completely slew-footed. Well, guess what? They're not going to be able to have the foot placement that you're accustomed to. They may not even be cut out for the game. But the point I'm making is, even physiologically, you have to look at things, or physically, I should say. Physically, some things physiological as well. But physically, you have to look at things and recognize things, and be able to make adjustments. And that's my point: making adjustments, not trying to just control everything and make a square peg fit into a round hole, but be flexible enough to tweak it in such a way where you can make it happen as seamlessly as possible, uh, and where no one has to compromise in a way that's negative. Okay, so
And we talk about making the best Chris Eubank Jr. Liam Williams is known as a come forward, aggressive fighter, somebody that just wants to stick all over you like a rash.
so this is important.
A style, and I know you're not going to give away tactics, but what improvements
Because some
and what
people,
have you added to Chris Eubank Jr. to make him be able to deal with that relentlessness of Liam Williams?
some people can't even wrap their minds around what Roy Jones Jr. is about to say. And again, in my opinion, that's a bad coach, because everything's got to be their way. Everything you knew, they want you to throw out, which is ridiculous. But listen,
To be quite frankly, the old Chris Eubank was better suited to deal with Liam Williams than the new Chris Eubank that I'm building. You feel me?
Yeah.
The old Chris Eubank was a warrior that don't mind that type of fight.
Okay.
So that Chris Eubank is probably the better one for this fight. However, because Liam is durable, I do want to see a little bit of the new Chris Eubank too. So I'm gonna see, can we sprinkle some of that in? But if we happen to just get the old Chris Eubank, there's nothing wrong with that. Because the old Chris Eubank is good enough to beat Liam Williams, and that's probably the better way to beat Liam. Because it takes Liam out of his game. Because the old Chris Eubank fights the same way that Liam Williams fights. But he's better at it than Liam Williams. So the old Chris Eubank has a better game plan for beating Liam Williams than the new one would. So I'm not going to go in and try to say, hey, let's do this stuff. No. That may not be necessary. What you knew already, it may be the best thing to beat this dude with. You feel me? So people don't understand. I'm not egotistical. I want to see whatever works happen. So if the old Chris Eubank was better suited for this, let's go back to the old Chris Eubank. Let's do what we got to do and get him if he gives us a problem. Now, if you want to go out and try to box around and see how it does, fine. That don't work. Throw that raw stuff out the window. Pull the old Chris Eubank back in. Let's get this over with. We'll move to the raw stuff when it comes time to it. You feel me? So it's like, I'm not so egotistical that I'm saying, no, go out and do it exactly what I... No, bro, let's go beat this dude. I don't care how we beat him. We got to beat the old Chris Eubank, beat this dude. Let's go beat the old Chris Eubank. We got time, but we need to beat this dude.
Now that is music to my ears, because I know that your IQ is heavy. We spoke about it in the last fight that you had when the...
yeah, so that's what you like to see. So I want to see where Chris Eubank Jr. and Roy Jones Jr. go from here. I know a lot of people are not looking at Chris Eubank Jr., but Roy Jones Jr. is possibly, oh, he's definitely one of the best fighters that ever entered the ring. Period. Period. There's no comparison to him and Lomachenko or anybody else right now. There's just no comparison. So I'm very interested to see how he approaches the training and things like that. I just want to know where these guys are going to go. I did this because I'm interested, I'm curious, and everybody's going down the road of Jaron Ennis, and everybody's already down the Charlo road and down the Canelo road, and that's cool. I'm down that road too sometimes. But let's back up a little bit and see what else is going on out here. I'm curious about this. Give me your thoughts on it, if any. I know not many people see this, but if you do, I kind of hope you enjoy what it is that I'm doing, and it's just something that I want to commit just a little bit of time here and there as I feel up to it, and like I say, offer a different perspective. That's going to be it for this one. I hope the future is really, really, really good for Roy Jones Jr. and Chris Eubank Jr., and I hope to see some good fights. That said, I'm going to go out with the usual peace. And just a little something here. A little something for Chris Eubank Jr. there. I thought that I'd do a little illustration. Peace.